Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to learn about plant tissue. So we all know that tissues are made up of cells, right? So first we need to know what are tissues. Tissues are collection of cells of what? All these cells are of same origin, right? It means they will be originated from the same position, okay, and they have same method of development, right? And they will perform a particular function. Okay, so what are tissues? So tissues are a collection of cells of same origin, same method of development, and they will perform a particular function, right? Now we all know that there are many differences in plant tissue and animal tissue, right? Since the cells are very much different from each other, so obviously the tissues will be also different. Now plant cells have cell wall, right, and other thickenings, right? This is a feature of plant cells. Now we all know that plants are mostly fixed in a place, right? Fixed in a place, or they are stationary, right? Unlike animals, they cannot move here and there. That is why most plant tissues are what? They are supportive in nature, right? Supportive in nature. Okay. And the percentage of dead tissues are more in plants if we compare it with animals. So why dead tissues? Because dead tissues can provide more mechanical support, right? And what? And less maintenance. It means dead tissues needs less maintenance. Okay. See, if something is standing somewhere without moving, so it needs to protect itself, na? So obviously it needs more mechanical support. If we see some danger, what we will do? We will run away. But a tree cannot do that. So it needs mechanical support, that no matter whatever the danger is coming, it can protect itself, right? Now today we are going to learn about types of plant tissues, right? Now plant tissues can be differentiated. I mean, they can be differentiated based on few factors, right? They can be differentiated based on origin, based on function, based on position, based on stages of development. So we are going to learn about plant tissue, different plant tissues based on stages of development, right? But I will also tell you the different types of plant tissue based on origin. Okay. Now based on stages of development, there are two types of plant tissue, right? First is meristematic tissue, right? Meristematic tissue. And second part is permanent tissue, right? Now meristematic tissues are generally what? They are living, right? They are living and they can divide. they can divide and grow in number, right? And permanent tissue cannot do that. So meristematic tissue, and after a certain time they lose their ability to divide and they become permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue, again I am saying, it can divide itself, right? It can grow in number, but after a certain time period, meristematic tissue lose their ability to divide and they become permanent tissue. Fine. It's been all permanent tissues were meristematic at first. Fine. Now meristematic tissues, there are certain characters about characters of meristematic tissues, like they have large nuclei, right? Large nuclei, dense cytoplasm. Sorry, here won't be any Y. Okay. Dense cytoplasm, and small to no vacuole. We all know that plant tissues, mostly plant cells, mostly have vacuoles, right? But in case of meristematic tissue, the number of vacuoles are very less or no vacuoles at all, right? Now we will learn based on position how we will differentiate this tissue, meristematic tissue. Okay, now where we can find meristematic tissue? We can find meristematic tissue in any growing tips. Okay, any growing tips of plant. It can be root tip, right? It can be shoot tip, leaf tip, etc. Okay, now based on position, meristematic tissues can be differentiated. Okay, there are many more bases of differentiation based on this, based on that, but I am going to discuss these two only. Okay, suppose this is a picture, this diagram is more or less given in most of the books. This diagram is given. Fine. Okay. Now if we say that this is a shoot, okay, so the meristems will be found here, right? Here, from wherever any branch is arising, here and here. So based on position, how we can differentiate, right? So based on position, here the apical portion, the meristem that we can found in the apical portion is apical meristem, right? That is apical meristem. Okay, these are intercalary meristem, and this one is lateral meristem. They are differentiated purely based on their position. Apical meristem, they helps in growth, right? They helps in growth, shoot and root. Fine. Intercalary meristem, it helps in growing new branches. Okay, in branches or in case of root, root branches or shoot branches, and there are lateral meristem as well. Okay, now we are going to talk about permanent tissue. Okay, so next we are going to learn about permanent tissue, right? Okay, so permanent tissue can be differentiated into two groups, right? One is simple permanent tissue, and then we have complex permanent tissue. Today we are going to learn about simple permanent tissue. Fine. So in simple permanent tissue, we are going to learn about parenchyma, Collenchyma, and Sclerenchyma. The plant portion of biology is most often people say it is a little boring than the animal portion. Why? Because the diagrams are not that much relatable. I mean, everyday basis you see animals and you notice them and the parts, but in case of plants we don't do that. So sometimes we feel that it's not that interesting, but that is not true. If we focus and we study with focus, then we will see that it is as interesting as the animal part, that is the zoology portion. Okay, so we will come back to our topic. We are going to learn about the simple permanent tissue. First we have to learn with diagrams, right? So first we will study about parenchyma tissue. First we are going to talk about parenchyma tissue, right? Now parenchyma tissue are fundamental tissue of plants. Fine. They are what? They are fundamental tissue of plant. Why? Because they provides ground for other tissues. Okay. Now these are parenchymatous cell. If you can see here, these are parenchymatous cell. Now parenchymatous cells are very simple in nature. Okay, they are mostly irregular or sometimes polygonal in shape. They have a prominent chloroplast. They have cell wall. This is the cell wall, right? They have cytoplasm, right? And here another view of parenchymatous cells. So their cell wall is thin. They have nucleus, cytoplasm is present, starch is present, and intercellular space is also present. If you see this portion, intercellular space is also present. And parenchymatous cells are what? Parenchymatous cells are living in nature, right? They are living in nature, right? They are round, shape wise you can say they are round, oval or polygonal. Now vacuole is present. We all know that plant cells have vacuole. Okay, round, oval and polygonal, right? Their main function is storage of food. So they act like refrigerator of our house, right? Storage of food. Fine. Storage of food, water, gas, photosynthesis, right? And they are mostly present everywhere in a plant. Okay, so they are present in cortex, they are present in pith, mesophyll tissue of plant and stem, fruits, etc. So parenchymatous tissues are actually all over present, like they are present all over the plant. Fine. Now we are going to learn about few short questions that can come from this portion, right? Now I said that they are also present in mesophyll cells of leaves, right? So the mesophyll tissue of leaf and stem, which contain chloroplast, okay, which contain chloroplast, they are called Sclerenchyma. So chloroplast plus parenchyma, it's mean chloroplast containing parenchyma is called Sclerenchyma. Okay, we often get confused with Sclerenchyma and Collenchyma, right? They are very different. Okay, Sclerenchyma means parenchyma with chloroplast, right? They are present in mesophyll tissue and they can perform photosynthesis. Fine. Now, in case of aquatic plants, what happens? The intercellular spaces are way more, right? Because for buoyancy it needs sponginess, right? So parenchyma in aquatic plants are called Parenchyma. These are short question that can, you know, that can come in different exams. Okay, next, parenchyma cells which contains oils, tannins, okay, crystals of calcium, sorry, this will be calcium oxalate, right? They are called what? They are called idioblast. Right? So oils, tannins and crystals of calcium oxalates containing parenchyma is called idioblast. Fine. Next we are going to learn about Collenchyma. Collenchyma. Fine. Now, Collenchyma are also living cells. Fine. They are elongated. In diagram, this one is the Collenchyma part. Fine. Here, they are the corner portion. The corner portion of the cells are lignified. The corner portion of the cells are lignified or thickened. Fine. They are thickened. Here we can see the diagram of Collenchyma. Okay. See the difference between parenchyma and Collenchyma. Here the cell wall in case of just a moment. Okay, in case of parenchyma, you see the cell walls are thin, right? Here the cell walls are thin. Here the cell walls are very much thick, and intercellular spaces are also less to almost not present at all, right? So they are living cells. They have unevenly thickening at the corners due to cellulose and pectin. So these thickenings are due to cellulose and pectin. These are the substances that are present in the corner portions. That's why they are unevenly thickened, right? They are elongated. They are elongated, as we can see. They are elongated, right? They are present beneath the epidermal layer, right? They are present beneath the epidermis. Fine. And what is their function? They provide what? They provide mechanical support and flexibility. Fine. That is their main function. Okay. Collenchyma tissue provides mechanical support and flexibility. Okay, so this was about Collenchyma. I will not say all about Collenchyma because there are a lot of things, but I'm just mentioning the important things or the basic things you can say. So next we are going to talk about okay. So next we are going to talk about Sclerenchyma, right? Next we are going to talk about Sclerenchyma. So they are dead cells basically, right? They are dead cells. Okay, they are very thick. They have very thick lignified walls. If you see the diagram here, you will obviously see that how their cells are, how thick their cells. If you compare from Parenchyma to Collenchyma to Sclerenchyma, how thick their cell walls are, and they are lignified. They are okay. So in case of Sclerenchyma, you will find two types of Sclerenchyma. Okay, one is fibers and sclerites. These are two types of Sclerenchyma. Okay, so they are long, elongated, right? Their cell walls are very thick. They are lignified walls. There are two types of Sclerenchyma, fibers and sclerites. Vacuole is completely absent, no vacuole. Okay, intercellular space and vacuole. Listen, if vacuole and intercellular space will be present, then rigidity will be less. Vacuole intercellular space, it means what? It is not that much rigid, right? So it is less rigid. So if you can see in Parenchyma tissue, vacuole is present, right? Cell wall is not that much thick. If you compare with Collenchyma, and Sclerenchyma is obviously very much thick, and intercellular space is also present. So it is not that mechanically strong. In case of Collenchyma, it gives mechanical support, but it is flexible, right? Collenchyma is flexible, but in case of Sclerenchyma, no vacuole and no intercellular space, right? Okay, next, it provides what? It provides, obviously, if it is that strong, then it will provide mechanical support, or it will provide strength and rigidity, right? Rigidity. Fine. And where can we find this Sclerenchymatous tissue? We can find in seed coat, right? Seed coat, nut cells. So the plant part that you see, that is very rigid, you have to think that if it is very rigid, if it is very hard, then Sclerenchymatous tissue is most definitely present, otherwise it won't be this much rigid. So seed coat, nut shells, husk of coconut, right? Coconut husk. Here we can find the Sclerenchyma cells, right? And Collenchyma we can find in, I have already told, beneath the epidermis. So you can find it in leaf stalk, leaf midrib. Okay, leaf stalk is also flexible. If you see, leaf midrib also, right? And then Parenchymatous tissue, I have already mentioned that it is present mostly everywhere. Okay, so this was all about simple permanent tissue. Okay, in simple permanent tissue, I have mentioned Parenchyma, Collenchyma and Sclerenchyma. And in case of permanent tissue, we have to learn about xylem, and phloem. Okay, these two we are going to learn about in our next video. Okay, so in today's video up to this much only. Thank you very much.